Hello everybody, welcome to my latest video. Now, many of you will know that I did a video on the Sandland demo that came out quite a while ago now, basically when it was first announced, and I was not overly impressed. In essence, the demo consisted of driving around a very small section of the map, basically just shooting creatures and people. There was no real reason to it. You couldn't do anything other than that, and it gave the impression that that's what the game is all about. Now, don't get me wrong, the game very much is about combat in vehicles. Now, in the demo you had the tank, the motorcycle, and a jumping robot. You get those relatively quickly in the full game, but there are others that you can unlock as well, and I have now got a number of hours into the game, and I wanted to do this kind of real look at the game, because I've noticed demos sometimes, for some reason, whoever puts the demos together just does not understand what people are going to want from a game. So I thought I would do this to show you exactly what there is. Now, you've probably noticed that I have been driving around for quite a while now, and that is a large portion of the game, unfortunately. It is relatively dull, but where the demo kind of ended at that, here you do have some extra things. So, for example, you have a story to follow, and you do get to get out of your vehicle and run around in towns. Now, you could not do that at all in the demo, and that was one thing that I said during my review of the demo that I think was really a bad idea. Not allowing people to explore a town at least to see what was available was quite a bad thing to do. Now, if they had, I think it would have shown some additional issues, but I'll get to those shortly. In essence, the gameplay itself is relatively good fun. There are some quirky things about it, one of which is in certain sections the gameplay will change to a side-scrolling platformer. In reality, at one stage I had a Donkey Kong-esque jump over some, well, they weren't barrels, but let's just call them barrels for this particular comment. I had a side-scrolling jump over the barrels moment. It was odd, to say the least. Now, I'm not going to show you too much, but you can see that you are the son of Lucifer, and your name is Beelzebub, which is in reality another name for Lucifer, but we won't go into that too much. What I would say is they don't play enough on this. They kind of make demons cutesy. I don't necessarily have a problem with that because they make them mischievous, that's fine. Demons don't necessarily have to be evil. But I think they make them a little bit too cutesy, in as far as the only thing they seem to really care about is playing video games. I don't know whether that's the developers trying to say that everyone who plays video games is a demon, but we will just brush over that one. So I've mentioned a little bit about the fact sometimes it turns into a side-scrolling game. The rest of it is somewhat 3D platformer. Lots of driving, lots of vehicular combat. I was about to say there's no face-to-face fist combat, but there is. You can choose to get out of your vehicle and fight fist. There are some certain areas where you do have fist fights, but predominantly it is with the vehicles that you find and build. Now, I wanted to show you kind of the RPG aspects. So you do have skills for your character. They can do various things. None of them are necessarily active skills, they're all passives. So you can do certain attacks, etc. But there are no special moves. You do unlock ultimates, for example, but you don't choose which ones you want, and they are very passive in nature in the skill tree. You then also get skills that you can use for your companions, so you have Thief and Row. Again, they're active in some regards, but only when you're in vehicles, really, and they do have quite a nasty recharge time. Now, parts, obviously, I said you build your vehicles. They call them bots in this, even the tank for some strange reason. The tank's a bot, the motorcycle's a bot. You have a jump bot, which kind of makes sense because that is a bot, but either way, you build them up via parts. Once you've got all of the basic parts and a frame, you can then construct that particular vehicle. It can be somewhat irritating though, because I have managed to find somehow the ability to make parts for a vehicle I do not have the ability to make. So I've used a load of components to make these parts for this vehicle: main weapon, secondary weapon, suspension, engine, and I have no frame to stick it to. So how I managed to learn how to make those parts, I don't know, because usually it's just from the frame. That being said, it is a relatively good system. You do have lots of different items and weapons that you can pick from, and in general they do change the look of your vehicle, which is quite nice. One thing I'm not overly keen on is the fact that you cannot change the look of your character at all. You cannot change his outfit, you can't do anything. In fact, you can't even change weapons, so when you do have your out of vehicle combat, it very much is just the same as a boxing game in certain regards. But you can see on screen that I'm changing some of the items that have been applied, and I applied one thing called extra ammo, and it has put some ablative armor plates on the tank. It's pretty decent, as I say. It's not groundbreaking, and it's not something that I'm going to play over and above anything else, especially for the vehicles, but it's decent. It's not a bad system. Now, I did want to show you just how much driving there is. Now, this is a section just after, in essence, completing the first act. It doesn't tell you you've completed the first act. I'm just saying I have completed the first act because of what happened. Now, I'm in a car. There is no weapon on this car at all. In fact, it's not even my car. It's the car of one of my companions. I have to drive to that sign on the map, 3,000 meters away. So I have over 3,000 meters or 3 kilometers worth of driving with nothing to do. Luckily there is a fast travel system, so if you've been to the place before, you can just quickly zip there, and trust me, I ended up doing it. Now I wanted to show this section simply because this is the town that you kind of spend most of your time in. This is where my disappointment really kicked in, mainly because I was under the impression, and I don't know why, but I was under the impression you rebuilt this town. It might be that I'm not far enough in, because as I say, I've completed what I think is the first act and no further. But I've got water flowing again, which you would think would make the town spring up. I've already attracted a couple of people to the town, and they've done nothing. They are literally just standing around. None of the rubble has been taken away, none of the ramshackle areas have been taken away. Yeah, it's exactly the same as when I moved in, apart from the water. So, that did disappoint me. Now, this is the ability to upgrade and build vehicles, as I mentioned a few minutes ago. Now, you can see the jump bot, you could see the battle tank, and I have a motorcycle. Since recording this, I did actually unlock a hover car, which is for a specific task. But other than that, they are very similar vehicles. One's got speed, one's got the jump ability, one's got durability. They have different weapons, but in essence, you pick the vehicle that matches the need at the time. There are certain sections you can only cross on the motorcycle, for example, so you don't have the choice what vehicle to take. And it's those situations where I do get a little bit annoyed, because if I like how one vehicle plays, don't force me into another one. I don't know, maybe that's just me. Also, let me customise the look of it, even just the colour scheme. They're all different. That really plays on my nerves, but that's just me being a little bit, I don't know, probably OCD. That's enough on the vehicle customization. I think we've seen quite a bit now. But now let's look at the fast travel system. It's relatively simple. All you do is you go into your map, you select the location that you want to go to. So for example, the Junker Market, or I think the Forgotten Spring is where I'm trying to get to. Sometimes it does kind of take you a while to find out where you're going to go, but the main ones are always with the star. So if we just click and hold square, it takes us directly there. Like I say, relatively straightforward and quick system. There is no nice animation in the background. It is quite simply, you just appear. It's quick, exactly what fast travel should be, but I think recent ones have really improved that by playing a little animation. I don't know. Again, just me being very, very picky. Now, from an art style perspective, I do like the look of Sandland. It's very comic book, and that's something that I do appreciate, especially Rao. He is just one grizzly, grumpy old man, and that is pretty good. I do like it, to be fair. There's another section where Thief, who is a demon, or a fiend as they call themselves, in the background there, he dons a certain outfit, which did crack a smile on my face, if I'm being honest. I'm not going to spoil the a no before you think it's not a gnome outfit. So, just don't get too excited. But it is funny, so, like I say, it cracked a smile on my face. Now, as you're running around the map, you can get out of your vehicle whenever you want, you're not tied to it. But when you do, you can find loads of chests. Now, you can actually open chests while you're in your vehicle as well, which is a nice touch. But when you do find them, you will find what seems to be odd random things, like B-grade bolt and things like that. Again, they're all used for upgrading and building vehicles. Nothing else, really. So do take note of those. You can't craft your own potions or anything like that, but you can buy them. You can find them as well. They're called health drinks, but basically they're your healing potions. You do have repair kits which are the same, and I would advise you to stock up on those because your vehicles are going to get extremely damaged during the course of the game. Now, I mentioned previously about certain section you can only cross with the motorcycle. This is it. Basically, it's quicksand, and the motorcycle is the only vehicle fast enough to cross it. I thought I would just show you that simply because, well, in reality, there's little else left to show you. Like I say, there are certain weapons that you can use on certain vehicles, so the motorcycle comes equipped initially, and I don't know whether it's the only weapon, but at least initially the motorcycle comes equipped with a shotgun. You can upgrade it to have additional things like a utility bot or drone, so you will have a drone following you around doing certain things. You can kill creatures in the world to get materials for upgrading and building your vehicles. And even when your vehicle is knocked somewhere you cannot obtain it, you can actually call it back because you are early on given an item that allows you to put vehicles and bots into a pocket-sized storage container. Really weird, that one, but you can. Pocket space for the win. But basically, that is it. So let's go back to a bit of driving through a desert to finish off. If you have liked this video, please make sure you do click the like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and please make sure you do leave me a comment down below to let me know what you think of the video and the game. And as always, I look forward to seeing you very soon for my next video. You all take care, bye for now, and enjoy the scenery.